Alright, let's talk about science. It's the noble pursuit that gave us Wi-Fi, vaccines, and the ability to watch cat videos in stunning 4K resolution. We picture scientists as brilliant minds in pristine lab coats, thoughtfully peering into microscopes and making discoveries that better humanity. They're the people we trust to solve climate change, cure diseases, and maybe, just maybe, figure out why my printer only works when I threaten it. But here's the thing. For every Jonas Salk, there's a Dr. Frankenstein. Or at least, a doctor. This seems like a horrible idea, but let's do it anyway and not tell anyone. History, it turns out, is littered with scientific experiments that weren't just bad, they were catastrophically, jaw-droppingly evil. These weren't your garden variety lab mishaps, like accidentally creating a sentient, slightly moody blob of jello. No, these were meticulously planned studies involving actual human beings who were treated less like people and more like lab rats who could fill out paperwork. The sheer audacity of some of these experiments is staggering. They make you wonder what the ethics committee meetings were like. So, just to be clear, your plan is to deliberately harm people for decades and lie to them? Fantastic. Any objections? No? Great, let's break for lunch. Let's begin with a fan favorite of conspiracy theorists everywhere, which also happens to be terrifyingly real. Project MKUltra. This was the CIA's little side hustle from the 1950s to the 70s, and its goal was, and I quote, mind control. Yes, the Central Intelligence Agency, an organization whose main job is supposed to be gathering intelligence, decided to dabble in the kind of stuff you'd see in a bad sci-fi movie. Their methods were as creative as they were monstrous. Hypnosis, sensory deprivation, various forms of psychological abuse, and, of course, a whole pharmacy's worth of drugs, most famously LSD. They wanted to see if they could make people do things against their will, like spill secrets or, I don't know, assassinate a foreign leader with a trained squirrel. The CIA wasn't exactly handing out consent forms for this. They dosed their own agents, military personnel, and government employees, often without their knowledge. But they didn't stop there. They went out and tested LSD on the general public, including mental patients, prisoners, and sex workers. In one operation, charmingly codenamed Operation Midnight Climax, the CIA set up brothels in San Francisco, hired prostitutes to lure men back, and then dosed them with acid, while agents watched from behind a two-way mirror. Next up, we have an experiment so famous, it has its own terrible movie adaptation. That's saying something. I'm talking about the 1971 Stanford Prison Experiment. The setup was simple, like a reality show pitch from hell. Philip Zimbardo wanted to see what would happen if you put good people in an evil place. He recruited 24 healthy male college students. He flipped a coin to assign roles: prisoners, guards. He put them in a mock prison in the basement at Stanford. He offered $15 a day, about $100 today, for a 2-week study. What could possibly go wrong? Pretty much everything, immediately. The guards, given uniforms, mirrored sunglasses, wooden batons, quickly became sadistic authoritarians. They embraced their roles with disturbing enthusiasm. Within 36 hours, one prisoner had a breakdown. The guards forced push-ups as punishment. They woke prisoners for middle-of-the-night head counts. They put prisoners in solitary, a tiny closet. And finally, we arrive at what is arguably the most infamous and morally reprehensible medical study in American history: the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male. That's its official title, which already sounds like it was cooked up at a villain convention. For 40 years, from 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted a study on nearly 400 African American men in rural Alabama who had syphilis. The goal was to observe the natural, untreated progression of the disease. And when I say untreated, I mean they actively prevented the men from getting treatment, even after penicillin became the standard, effective cure for syphilis in the 1940s. The researchers didn't just watch, they lied. They told the men they were being treated for bad blood, a vague local term for a variety of ailments. They gave them placebos like aspirin and mineral supplements and subjected them to painful, useless procedures like spinal taps, which they passed off as special free treatment. In exchange for their participation, the men were offered free medical exams, free meals on examination days, and burial insurance. They literally bribed these poor, vulnerable men with funeral expenses for a study that was ensuring they would need those funerals sooner rather than later. And the only thing we should learn from it is to never, ever go down that road again. Period. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content.